There is a reason that we in this state of Arizona have been held out by anyone who has studied us as having the best system around. Now, granted, we can always be improved. There are things that happen that you don't expect, and you can make adjustments, but every organization that has studied judiciary, appointments, elections, they always come back to us and say that we have the best system, this merit selection. And to me, the proof is in the pudding. It works. We know it works. We have a very high caliber of bench in this state.
I wanted to go back into history because just a bit, I'm a fourth generation Arizonan raised in Pinal County. And I starkly remember in the early 70s, we lived out on a cotton cattle ranch out in the middle of nowhere between Coolidge and Casa Grande. And I remember my dad saying, well, son, you need to, take that t-shirt off and put on a collared shirt here. Judge Bean's coming by. And I go, well, are you in trouble, Dad? And he goes, no, he wants to come by. And Bob Bean, I don't know if you all remember him from the Pinal County bench. He goes, no, he wants to come by and talk about his campaign. I said, oh, what is a campaign of? And he goes, well, he's got to run a re-election for judge. And I go, judges? We have to vote on judges? I was like 8 years old. Well, that doesn't make sense. He goes, yeah, he's going to come by and ask for a donation. I said, you have to give judges money?
I might be the only one, maybe even in this room, that started when we had election of judges. And my brother actually was a bailiff to a judge, and one of his duties during the election system was to post signs with handcuffs and gavel striking down all over the valley. And Pete later became a judge. He didn't like doing that, but it was a job for him, and he had just moved out here. When I applied to be a judge, we didn't do mock interviews, at least I never did. We didn't have big campaigns with people calling and writing and meeting. I never met any of the people. And what then existed, which wasn't the Judicial Nominating Commission, it was basically a group of people who had been selected, much the same as the Nominating Commission, made up of lawyers and private citizens.
There was a recognition that electing our judges, and remember at that time the population of Maricopa County was about 400,000. And now it's, 5 million, 5.5 million? We're the fifth largest city in the United States. So you can tell that the interest in electing judges isn't the way to go, especially today. And I think that's part of what we're seeing now when you start reading about campaigns for or against retaining some of our current judges and justices. And it's based on the misconception that they are doing things politically, which I don't believe.
On my way into work this morning, there was a program on KJZZ, and I was telling you guys that Bob Robb had appeared, and he was talking about how it was his belief that our system, our merit selection system, tends to stifle judges and interferes with their independence. And I don't know that I believe that. I'm not sure that I do. There was another lady, and I can't remember the name of the organization she was with, but she was talking about all the investigations she does into judges, and she goes and gets the pamphlets, and they've got another database about all the judges. But she made this statement, and I tell you what, I almost wrecked my car.
Glad you didn't.
I'm glad too. She said, I believe judges' decisions should be made keeping in mind and consistent with the will of the people. And I said to myself, how can a person so diligent about this process be so fundamentally wrong about what a judge's charge is? Let me read you something from this wonderful text, and I know this is ethics, and it's dry as heck. It was dry in law school, and it's dry now, but it's a big deal. Even when subject to public election, a judge plays a role different from that of a legislature or executive branch official. Rather than making decisions based upon the expressed views or preferences of the electorate, a judge makes decisions based upon the law and the facts of every case. Therefore, In furtherance of this interest, judges and judicial candidates must, to the greatest extent possible, be free and appear to be free from political influence and political pressure. I don't think you can say any better.
There are 4 counties in the state that are merit selection counties: Pima County, Pinal County, Maricopa County, and Coconino County, in case no one was aware of that. The outlying counties still do elections the good old-fashioned way. Yavapai County is probably going to be coming on board with merit selection before they want to, because they're going to hit the population limit before they know it, the way things are going up there. So it won't be long before Yavapai County joins us. Each of these counties then has 2 appointments commissions, right? There's the trial court appointment commission, and then there's the appellate court appointment commission, each with their respective courts, divisions 1 or 2, depending on what appellate division it is. So just a little bit more background as to, you know, which counties participate in merit selection and how that works.
Remember, the role of the commissions is not to make the appointment. That's the chief executive. That's what the people voted the governor for. He or she makes the appointment. We're supposed to send up qualified candidates on a constitutional list. So I always tried to send up as many people as possible to give that governor as many, as whether they're Republican or Democrat, as many options, because that's the commission's role. We've over the years had commissioners, some alpha personality commissioners that thought otherwise. That's just not the role of the commission.
The other thing that I've noticed is that maybe because people are frustrated with political parties, that we have far more independents than we had before. And independents can count either way. And when you have independents, you can really make a constitutional list without going through all the machinations. One thing I'll say is there's another process for judicial officers. That's a commissioner selection committee. George was on it. I was chair of it for a while. You do the same thing, you interview, but they don't have to put down any parties or anything like that. It's much less political. And the committee sends names to the presiding judge. Joe Welty's been doing that for a number of years now, making selections. And that's another way, you know, to become a judicial officer.
The process works. I mean, many times we would have folks from Japan, from Germany, from France that would come to our commission meetings to observe, you know, how we do it. And boy, that was those are proud moments because, you know, we've always looked as a leader in merit selection. And I know that here we're talking about the ballot, but it's good to lay out a foundation about how important the whole process is.
Yeah. Well, and that brings up another great point that Judge Marwell, you know, raised in our planning meetings for this event, and that is that, you know, there are remedies for people who don't agree with the opinions of the judges or have a judge rule against them. There are very simple things you can do. You can make a motion to the court for reconsideration. You can take an appeal, or you can go to the state legislature and have the law changed if that's what you want. We saw that today, in fact. And I can't tell you how many times in my career it has happened to me where I have been all the way up to the Supreme Court of Arizona on a very discrete, narrow legal issue. I have won it, and within 2 years, someone's been to my opponent has been to the state legislature, had the law changed, and we're right back to square one. It's the way it works, and that's the system we have, and it works. And it's being disgruntled about a decision and making a complaint to the Judicial Conduct Commission sort of misses the point. And you lose the opportunity to take advantage of the system that we have with our 3 branches of government to do what you think is the right thing to be done.